I don't know why they never make the parts I need. That ever happened to you? Welcome to Cruzin Northwest. You know, recently, Cruzin Northwest went to the Washington State Fairgrounds and we saw the Western Washington Rod and Custom Show. And we looked at one beautiful Model A sedan and we got to meet its owner, Mr. Larry Foss. Then it's off to the Washington State Patrol, where Larry Andren is going to bring us a little more on our series on how to title a kit car in Washington State. And we're going to bring you an update on an ambitious 15-year-old. Boy, that is, not truck. All that on this edition of Cruzin Northwest.
Cruzin Northwest, brought to you in part by the heartbeat of America Northwest, Walker Chevrolet, your neighborhood Chevy dealer and proud sponsor of the 1988 Fall Fest Road Rally for Muscular Dystrophy, Friday night, November 18th. Cruzin Northwest, with special guest car, Larry Foss's 1931 Ford sedan, and special appearances by Don Burns' 1940 Merc HT, Larry Wick's 1922 Overland, and the Deitch Brothers' Pretty in Pink. And now, a musical tour of the 1988 Custom Rod and Wheel Show. The first rod that caught our eye as we walked through the doors was Don and Dee Dee Barnes' 1940 Merc HT. With upholstery by Truck Interiors, Don customized the car himself. Don and Dee Dee's Merc drew a lot of appreciative stares as it greeted folks visiting the Rod and Custom Show. Jim and Larry Deitch wowed them with Pretty in Pink, a 68 Camaro shell powered by a 69 Chevy 350. It's all right, girl. Check the plates. Fabricated polished aluminum paneling graces the trunk, engine compartment, and funny car-style roll cage interior with padded fiberglass seats. Jim and Larry Deitch are sitting pretty in pink. And this is a touch of brass. Larry and Barbara Wick's 1922 Overland, sporting a 289 cubic inch Ford engine with a Mercedes rear end and a hand-built front end. And that's a musical tour of the Western Washington Rod and Custom Show.
How about that Pretty in Pink Camaro? Wow. Up next, Mr. Larry Foss. His very unusual Model A sedan drew a lot of attention at the Puyallup Show.
Well, Ed, burgers are booming.
Have you seen this?
Arby's beef and cheddar. Nothing to worry about.
These reports say otherwise. People stepping out of our burger lines to go to Arby's.
Because Arby's roast beef with cheddar cheese sauce is different.
Thing is, they're not coming back to burgers. They have a slogan, beef and cheddar's better.
Come on, Ed, it's still a burger world out there.
That may be, but it's a changing one.
The revolution continues. Taste the Arby's difference.
When Pete Lovely moved his Volkswagen dealership to the farmlands at Fife 24 years ago, people thought he was nuts. But today, Pete Lovely Volkswagen, now surrounded by dozens of businesses, is a success. Yet people think Pete has gone nuts again. That's because he's clearing out all 88 Volkswagens at incredibly low prices. There's a huge selection of new Volkswagens to choose from, plus lots of quality used cars too. Pete Lovely Volkswagen, Interstate 5 at Fife. We take driving seriously.
There's been tremendous response to our first issues of Cruzin magazine, and we thank you. We're filling orders fast. Everybody's reading them. Here's what you'll discover between our covers. Hot rod legend Dick Page and his personal glimpses of 32 years in the business. Plus Cruzin magazine's regular columns like A Woman's Place, color photo sections, the brand new feature Club of the Month, and biographies of street routers and rally personalities. To receive your subscription to Cruzin magazine, 12 issues of the Street Machine magazine, simply send $18 in the United States, $28 for all you Canadian routers. Check or money order to Cruzin magazine, Post Office Box 774, Freeland, Washington, 98249. That's Cruzin magazine, Post Office Box 774, Freeland, Washington, 98249. 12 issues of Cruzin magazine.
Take a look at your car, Larry. I really like it. It's really different. Okay. Hi there. We're back. And we're with Larry Foss, and he has a very unusual chop-top 1931 Ford sedan. And Larry, anybody that knows anything about cars can tell that this is not your average modern-day street rod. There's got to be a story here. Are you marching to the tune of a different drummer?
Okay, the car was purchased in 1943 by my father, and he drove it for 10 years for a family car, in which time he sold it to one of my older brothers, who in turn started building what you see here out of it. Engine, 55 Olds, 37 Cadillac transmission, 52 Lincoln rear end, all junkyard parts. The engine was new. He established the basic look of the car, the basic appeal of the car. The baby blue was his idea. The car was entirely roughed in, but he never finished anything. He passed away early in 1957, and I inherited it in 1965, eventually got it finished, and I've since rebuilt the car twice, but tried to hold true to what Terry, the original brother, wanted out of it in 1953 to 1956. And all of the parts are essentially 50s parts that were available when the car was originally built 30 years ago.
That's one of the nice things about this car, folks, that basically doesn't contain any suspension components or anything that are popular kit car parts like ordered out of magazines. And incidentally, as far as the engine goes, Larry, step back a second here. People make a big mistake a lot of times. They find an old hot rod car. They'll take an original Oldsmobile or Cadillac motor out of it, throw everything away, go out and buy a Chevrolet V8, start all over again, completely destroy a perfectly good old version of a hot rod and build another belly button car. You know, everybody's got one of those. And the white walls I especially like, and they do match the interior. Why don't you show us some of the interior, Larry?
I'm glad to, Dick. The interior was stitched by Gary Rowell of Aberdeen in very vintage 50s white tuck and roll with blue trim and blue carpet. The dash was built by myself. It includes 2 Stuart Warner panels, one of them for a glove box, 9 of their instruments, 56 Ford pickup switches. The steering wheel is 34 Ford, the shifter's 37 Cadillac. The side panel trim is 56 Ford Fairlane, inlaid with engine-turned aluminum to match the dash clusters.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks
for sharing the story of your car with us here on Cruzin Northwest. And next up, our titling process. Last week we joined David Craig as he looked into the titling process, and now Larry Andron's going to take us a little further with step 2. Come on, Larry, let's check out the car show and see what else is here.
A little bit later in the show, we're going to sneak out of state. We'll visit with a boy and his truck. And up next, Officer Larry Andron visits with State Trooper Weldon Wilson and discusses the assembled car on Cruzin Northwest.
Honey, found the film yet?
No. Yes!
Honey, found the reel yet?
Make the popcorn, okay?
Honey, found the loop yet?
Hit the lights!
Glad you had our old films put on tape.
You know, it wasn't expensive, and it was so easy to do. Filmed memories transferred to easy-to-use videotape, 284-5000.
See this old building? Been here over 56 years. Oh, sure, we repaint it every year or so. We keep it clean and fresh. But it's still the same old Walker Chevrolet that it's always been. Your neighborhood Chevrolet dealer, where you'll always be treated properly and get the best deal around. No, we're not on Tacoma or Puyallups Auto Row, and we don't have the overhead that goes with it. Maybe that's why we can keep our prices so doggone low. Walker Chevrolet, 633 Division Avenue, Tacoma.
Friday night, November 18th, not too far down the road. And on Friday night, November 18th, you're invited to hit the road for muscular dystrophy at Tacoma's Fall Fest Road Rally. Register for the rally at Clover Park Hotech from 6 to 7 p.m. the 18th and get set to compete for great prizes, from tires to free tune-ups.
Hi, I'm Dick Page. And I'm telling you, if you're not cruising for muscular dystrophy, a lot of people are losing.
Rally against muscle disease at Tacoma's Fall Fest Road Rally.
Thursday night, my night out with the boys. A few beers, a little action, sometimes we'd score. Thursday nights. That was the old me. It took AIDS to make me realize that I was putting myself and my family in danger. I was cheating. It's not worth it. I love my family, and I'm not bringing AIDS home.
Find out more about AIDS. Call 1-800-342-AIDS.
You know, this is one real rare piece of equipment. I'm going to tell you more about it later. Last week, Detective David Craig visited the Washington State Patrol and talked to Trooper Weldon Wilson about titling a kit car in Washington State. Well, this week, Officer Larry Andron is going to visit with Trooper Wilson.
Officer Larry Andron. Last week we talked about kit cars. This week, let's take a look at the assembled car, and let's talk with Trooper Weldon Wilson. Hi, Weldon, how are you?
Hi, very good to meet you again.
You know, last week we gave the viewers an opportunity to understand a little about kit cars. This week, let's take a look at the assembled car. And my first question is, what is an assembled car?
Well, Larry, first of all, if they change the frame on the car, or if they change the body on the car, it's going to be an assembled vehicle. Or if they completely change the cosmetic appearance of the car, it's going to be an assembled vehicle, because it no longer resembles the manufacturer's appearance.
So a guy brings in, he's got a 48 Chevy pickup, and he wants to put a Nova clip on the front end, and when he puts that clip onto that, that's an assembled change to an assembled vehicle.
That's correct.
Okay. What about the guy that has the Model A, and the fenders are all rusted out, and he wants to change them to fiberglass fenders?
Then he's going to have an assembled title. It's not going to be an original 29 Model A. It's going to show that the vehicle is then assembled, because it does have the major component parts replaced with fiberglass.
Okay. Now, what is the first thing you guys look for here at the inspection station on an assembled vehicle?
When the vehicle drives into the inspection lane, the first thing we would do is check the title documents against the frame and the body, and then ask the applicant where the major component parts came from. If he purchased them from a wrecking yard, we would then ask for invoices from the wrecking yard showing the yard number, or if he purchased from a private party, we would ask for a notarized bill of sale showing the year, make, and model and serial number of the vehicle that the parts came off of.
Okay, so you're asking for some documentation from those folks of where these parts came from.
That's correct.
And with that, they bring that documentation to you at the inspection station, and then it proceeds from there.
Yes, and then we go out and check the equipment and lights to make sure that it meets all the requirements for lighting and equipment. In Washington State, we would normally reassign the frame number back to the body. The frame number is a more permanent serial number. We would remove the body number, put the frame number back onto the body because it's a more permanent serial number.
Okay, Weldon, I've got it. You got it?
Perfectly clear. If you have any questions regarding the titling process or any problems that the Washington State Patrol might answer on any given edition of Cops and Rotters, write Cruzin Northwest, 117 South Main, Suite 200 in Seattle, 98104. And we'll be happy to find out the answer for you. Still to come, a sneak preview of our recent trip south of the border. Well, Washington's border. And what the heck is this thing?
This is Phoenix, Arizona, one of the vacation centers of the world. A land of orange trees, resort hotels, and pretty girls. Home of the Phoenix Cardinals and the Phoenix Suns. A great place to live, work, and learn. That's right, learn. This is the world-famous refrigeration school in Phoenix, Arizona, where for the past 20 years or so, we've taught thousands of men and women to make good money working as a refrigeration specialist, mastering refrigeration, air conditioning, heating, and solar energy equipment. Also, we have separate courses for training as a full-time electrician. We'd like you to come to Phoenix, Arizona and attend our school. In a few short months, we can teach you the one thing that's most important to you, how to earn a good living, even when times are bad. And you can work almost any place you want. We have classes morning, afternoon, or evening. We'll help you find a part-time job while you're going to school, and even help you find a place to live. Remember, you learn to become a full-time electrician or to install and work on refrigeration, air conditioning, heating, and solar energy units. All these skills, all these courses in the same training center, and financial aid is available for qualified students. For information about the Refrigeration School in Phoenix, Arizona, call 1-800-662-2500. There's no charge for the call or the brochure we'll send you. Call now. Operators are standing by. 1-800-662-2500.
Coast Guard to base, pursuing suspect vessel.
This is United States Coast Guard. Skipper, stop your vessel.
Stopping illegal drug smugglers is just one of the jobs the Coast Guard does every day. Be part of the action.
Coast Guard and Coast Guard Reserve. Call toll-free or see your Coast Guard recruiter.
You know, this is an early experimental dry lakes fuel injector for a Ford Flathead. I like to think it was made by Stu Hilborn, or one of the early pioneers of hot rodding. Obviously a design that never got into production. It's interesting though, the sliding plate Venturi effect is something that you do see on motorcycles from time to time. All right, it's that time of year again for the World of Wheels show. And last week, Cruzin Northwest traveled to Portland, Oregon to cover this spectacular event, which incidentally takes place a week before the tour's Seattle stop. Would you like to see a preview of what you're going to see more of next week on Cruzin Northwest? Well, one of the people that we talked to was Mr. Wayne Miller.
Cruzin Northwest arrived in Portland the day before the World of Wheels show actually was open to the public. We made sure we set time aside to visit some of the more beautiful parts of the Rose City before heading to the exhibition hall, where we found preparations frantically underway during the last few hours before competition judging took place. We first met Wayne Miller as he meticulously detailed his 1932 Ford two-door sedan.
Oh, I've had it since 1970. Had it 18 years. When the family was younger, we used it as a street ride, traveled with it, and just recently I've redone the car again, and my younger boy and I are drag racing it.
Though Wayne assembled the car, he's quick to admit that he got a lot of help from some pals.
A good friend of mine in Gresham, Oregon, Mike McKinnon, did the metalwork on the car, hand-built the aluminum hood, and helped me with the chassis. He did much of the chassis and suspension on the car. As I say, the car's all steel. The car was painted in Vancouver by Rogers Auto Body, and I assembled the car. The car runs a small block Chevy in it, automatic transmission.
Now, lest you be as impressed as we were with Wayne's overabundant attention to detail, be it known this rod isn't simply all show.
We have the car set up for bracket racing, and we have a full roll bar in it, and competition seating, seat belts, fire extinguisher. It has the Hearst competition shifter in it.
Not only a classic beauty, but an all-purpose beast.
We got it set up so we can drive it on the drags on Wednesday evening and the weekends, or we can convert it back for street use, whatever we got to do.
One last look at a big thank you to Wayne Miller at the Portland World of Wheels Show, where next week we'll introduce you to 5 lean machines. And we'll meet the people behind them and under them at the exciting World of Wheels shows. Plus, a look at the International Show Car Association's judging procedures, how those show cars take top show. Up next, the continuing story of a young man whose energy and ambition are taking him to the streets on Cruzin Northwest.
In the last 2 years, where did 300,000 Americans who used to own GM cars go? Where else? And where will you find the car that last year alone found its way into the hearts of 54,000 GM owners? Where else? And where can you get the car that got 41,000 GM owners to switch? Where else? And where can you buy the family car that sold over 38,000 GM owners? Where else but at your Lincoln Mercury dealer? Come on over.
There's been tremendous response to our first issues of Cruzin magazine, and we thank you. We're filling orders fast. Everybody's reading them. Here's what you'll discover between our covers. Hot rod legend Dick Page and his personal glimpses of 32 years in the business. Plus, Cruzin magazine's regular columns like A Woman's Place, color photo sections, the brand new feature, Club of the Month, and biographies of street rodders and rally personalities. To receive your subscription to Cruzin magazine, 12 issues of these Street Machine magazine, simply send $18 in the United States, $28 for all you Canadian rodders. Check or money order to Cruzin magazine, Post Office Box 774, Freeland, Washington, 98249. That's Cruzin magazine, Post Office Box 774, Freeland, Washington, 98249. 12 issues of Cruzin magazine.
We really shouldn't litter. Not for all the dough in the world.
Send for your free Take Pride in America kit.
All you have to do is write. Free kit. Take Pride in America. Jessup, Maryland, 20794.
This has been a public service message from the United States Department of the Interior.
About a year ago, we did a show that we called Young Blood, where we were investigating where the young people in street rotting are coming from. And one of the people that we had on that show was young Michael Riedling and his 48 Ford pickup truck. At the time, the truck was under construction, outside the driveway, hadn't run yet. The truck is together now, it runs. In fact, we have a little mobile scrapbook displayed here on the hood and fender that we're going to show you in a minute of some of the progress on the truck. Come on over, Michael.
I did.
Thanks for letting us come into your garage today and prevail on you to share with our viewers some of the updates on your truck. It's quite a learning experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different.
Real different. Trying to make something out of nothing. This is an old dead truck that used to be out behind my garage. And we made Michael a deal that he couldn't refuse, and they drug it home on the end of a rope in pretty sad condition. And you've done a marvelous job so far on the truck. Dave, come on over. This is Michael's dad, Dave Shepardson. Dave and I work together during the day.
Yeah,
pretty bad when I got to see you on my off hours, too.
Oh, well, what can I say?
Well, this has been a real chore, hasn't it?
Hey, this has been an experience. It's quite exciting for myself, you know. You take something that doesn't work, you cut it up, and you make it work, and the thing actually drives down the road. It amazes me to death.
Well, I think the important thing here is that there's a father and son team working together, doing something together as a family, and the whole family does have to get involved in something like this.
They sure do.
Yeah, it's real rough to do it without cooperation from the rest of the family. And you've actually done it. You're seeing this through to a conclusion. Now, the truck's not done yet, folks. It's still a little lumpy in a few places. It's just got baby blue primer on it. Let's check out the pictures, and you can tell us a little bit about its maiden voyage.
Okay, Dick, we'll do that. Here in this picture, it's a midpoint in the building of the truck. It actually ran in this picture. The next picture that you're going to see was, we noticed how close to the ground it was, which later turned out to be a problem.
You did have to raise it up a little then?
We had to raise her about 3 inches.
These are some pictures that we used for reference to see the difference in height. One's a stock and the other one's a chopped and cut up lowered truck.
The stock 49 is my second project truck. Michael's truck sits just right at 10.5 inches lower than the stock. And we're going to use a second one for a Pro Street. So maybe we can put 2 of them in Yakima's show next year.
Now, these pictures were taken just before you left for Yakima.
Here we are. We made it to Yakima, got our carburetor sorted out. The truck was running good. It's a Fearless Freeway Flyers here. This is the first time this truck's been more than 2 blocks from home. We didn't know if it was going to make it or not.
Well, all the work that we've done was well worth it, and then it was off to the races.
And the races in this case are Seattle International Raceways, the Old Timers, Northwest Nostalgia Nationals. The hardest part for a teenager about taking his truck or car to the drags is washing it for 2 weeks afterwards without washing those numbers off the windows. You guys have done a fine job for a father and son team. You've had a lot of fun. How much money you got in this truck, David?
We got $1,100 in it as it sits.
Hey, all right. There you go, folks. Cheap thrills. Well, that's it. Thanks for showing us the pictures, Michael and David. And if you'd be really nice to me, I won't tell anybody how fast the truck went at the drags, okay? Is that a deal?
Yeah, hey, it went real fast on the way to Yakima.
Just flew.
What's next? What are you going to do next?
Make it safe and legal and take all the dents out of the fenders and the body.
Yeah, some of our fender help down here hasn't shown up as promised.
Oh, now, I've been busy.
Sure.
I'll get to it.
Right.
I'll get to it. So I tell everybody, I'll get to it. You know what around to it is? Round to it, so I'm going to get around to it. Well, thanks, guys. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this. Thank you. Well, that's me.
Yeah, see this? Right down here. Huh? See this?
I know.
See this?
I'll get to it.
Other side's work.
I'll do it. See if we get...
As a reminder, if your club or show has an event coming up, write and tell us, and we'll cover it. Write to Cruzin Northwest, 117 South Main, Suite 200 in Seattle, 98104. And one of the events we're going to be covering, and we hope you join us for, is this Friday, November 18th, Tacoma's Fall Fest Road Rally for Muscular Dystrophy. We'll see you there.
As I said before, more next week on our coverage of the Portland World of Wheels show, where we're going to meet a newlywed couple whose love for their prize-winning show car, their motorcycle, and each other have combined to keep them happily on the road 52 weeks out of the year. Plus the world's most beautiful roadster and more next week right here on Cruzin Northwest. So for now, until next week, keep cruising. Bye-bye. Jack's Custom Machine said this is going to work, and I sure hope he was right. Boy, I have had nothing but trouble with this deal. I don't know why. Just can't buy what you want.